Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Self-Care Senorita, Tori here, and we are going to do our next session of Let's Talk About, and today we're going to talk about Poshmark. So today we have Jennifer Outland, who is Posh Bae, and she has gotten into Poshmark, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it is. You have a closet full of clothes, and if you're like a lot of people during quarantine where you've started to clean some things out, and you're like, I can't take this to Goodwill, I don't know what to do, how do I get rid of all this stuff? Well, you can actually flip it into some money. And Jen is actually going to tell us how she started in her career and also ways that we can make either some extra money or turn it into a side hustle. So, Jen, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that I'm going to back this up as we talk. Everyone is able to join. Like Tori said, my name's Jen. I am actually a part-time reseller on the app Poshmark. If you're not familiar with Poshmark, I know she kind of just provided a little bit of an overview. It is a reselling app. You are able to download it in the Android store or the Apple store. You can also get it access to it on a desktop. It's very similar to eBay, but eBay has about 30 years on Poshmark of how long it's been around. You are able to sell fashion on there, accessories, menswear, home goods, and vintage. So it's kind of like that span. They're looking to basically go out of that realm soon. They're kind of adding on every year more things, but as of right now, that's kind of where it's at. And I think the app's been around about 12 years. No, that's a lie. The app has been around since 2012. I've been on the app since about 2014. So it was still in a beta stage when I had started. But yeah, that's kind of like the background with it.
So, how did you first learn about Poshmark?
So I was on fashion websites. I'm very into fashion and some blogs a couple years ago, and there was a blogger who actually started. She was one of the beta testers for the app, and she had made 6 figures on it back in 2013 when it first started. She was a boutique owner, and then she transitioned into expanding her store. So I had found it through her online access for the blog.
And so did you first start like cleaning out your closet? How did you start to inch into making this not just something that you did occasionally but actually making it almost like a small business?
Okay, yes. So in 2014, I had downloaded it. You could still have it on the desktop, but they wanted you to try to use the app at that time. I started by cleaning out my personal closet. I was living in the Cleveland area at the time, and I was going to grad school full-time. I had moved down to Youngstown, and I wanted to basically get rid of a lot of my clothing. The year before, I'd lived in Florida, and I had a lot of like swimwear. I had a lot of maxi dresses and suits that are like not appropriate for Ohio, obviously. So I did that, and I started there. The brands varied, the items varied. I just kind of wanted to get rid of stuff at that time. And once I started to make a certain type of income on there, I realized I could kind of expand it. And then I joined the reseller community on Instagram. And I know Tori's going to share that a little bit later towards the end of the chat, but it's basically just kind of like the debt-free community or communities of fitness on Instagram. It's the same thing that people will shop at thrifts, consignments, cleaning out their closet, and they make a business with it. Very similar to e-commerce, obviously.
So when you started, like you obviously said you were into fashion, so you knew kind of like what brands to start thrifting for. So like when you went to Goodwill, like what were you looking for?
So yeah, so I should explain how the items are sourced now. In the beginning, I started with my own personal closet, and then eventually when I had joined that community, I had realized how people were accessing inventory. You can kind of start in the way that I did. I always recommend going that route with it. That next step, I would actually ask family and friends if they're not wearing items, if they were going to clean out their closet and they're donating. Now is a perfect time to do that, because as things are starting to open, I think people are still wanting to downsize and clean out things and have extra cash. So that would probably be step 2, asking friends and family. And then through that community, you know, they really expand, going to thrift stores, going to consignment shops, going to places like Plato's Closet, Clothes Mentor. You can just do a Google search for your town, depending on where you're living, and kind of going from there to access items to actually sell on the app.
Perfect. And so, like, if I wanted to start to clean out my closet, I obviously have some plus size clothes and some like regular clothes, but I also have kids' clothes. So, like, what's the best way when I'm listing items? Like, should I do I do a lot of detail? What kind of photos should I take? How should I take photos? Do I use stock photos? Like, what's the best way to show kind of like my inventory? Do I do it piece by piece, or do I do pieces together like a collection? What's the best way to do that?
So if you're wanting to just start out and you kind of have like eclectic, there's like multiple things you can go for that route. And we'll just say you're cleaning out your personal wardrobe or your son's, or you're using your friends. I would just sort it by size, sort it by category, because when you eventually get into the Poshmark app, especially if you're serious about it, there's going to be filter choices on there. And then there's going to be brand choices, and you can basically filter throughout all. So say, I guess, like, just to start with an example, you were doing your personal closet and you had lost a couple sizes and you're like, I'm not going to wear this size anymore. I would basically look the items over, make sure there's not stains, rips, holes, anything like that. See if it's actually a sellable item that somebody would want, and then go from there by listing. Again, it's just like women's at that time. And you would know the brand, you would know your size. You would tell the buyer basically, like, is this new with tags? Is it, new without tags? Is there holes or anything like that? Any type of blemishes in it? And I would go that round with each piece, kind of going through the categories. Obviously, the more information you're giving, it's better for the buyer. Same thing, you had mentioned like kids' clothes. You can actually filter on the app to see certain brands if they should be sold together or separate. Tori, I know sometimes you've used the app in the past, and I think, items that it might have a little bit more wear, but moms want secondhand clothing for the kiddos, to
Like
bundle a lot of those things, less new with tags.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
bodysuits or sleepers. Like, say you have like 5 or 6 Gerber sleepers that are all the same size. Like, you could group those together because
Yep.
no one really wants to spend $1 on it plus shipping. Whereas, like, maybe if there's like 5 sleepers together and you charge like $8, a mom's like, hey, these are good quality, like $8. It's cheaper than the store. So, I mean, that's when grouping makes sense for kids' clothes. Also, like one-off items that are a little bit smaller. So, like, if you have for summer, like tank tops or shorts, or like sets of t-shirts, like here's all Cat and Jack. So what I do with Braxton stuff when I list it is that if it's a really nice quality item or a suit, so I'm talking about like a jacket, a shirt, and a pair of pants or something like that goes together, that's fun. But then if we have like a series of like t-shirts or something like that, I group them either by size and say the different brands, or I group them by a brand and then say, like, here's 10 Cat and Jack t-shirts size 2T, or shorts or something like that. I have found that baby stuff sells more than toddler stuff, which is pretty typical across the realm, with even outside of consignment, of what people need, because so many people get hand-me-downs of toddler stuff, and toddlers move through those sizes very differently. And then higher end items definitely sell better on Poshmark. So like, we had a Ralph Lauren onesie that someone had gifted us, and it was in great condition. Reselling it, I could ask like $25 for it. And so like higher end, like people will resell like the baby Jordans, because like really, like, they never touch the ground. So like, they're always almost brand new. So some of those items, I've seen people sell blankets. I've seen people sell some toys, pacifiers, and like some other mom baby stuff. But mainly what I did is I just listed, like, we had 3 different winter snowsuits, and they were 3 different sizes. So if you were someone that lives somewhere cold, 3 different sizes would be perfect because that might cover you for a whole season. So, you know, we sold those off, and they were great for when we had them.
And I think to go along with that, that can transition into other areas as well. If you have basics and you're wanting to sell your personal clothing, your boyfriend's, your husband's clothing, and it's, you know, basic tees, it's a lot of cargo shorts, a lot of jeans that are in pretty decent condition, depending on the brand is really what you want to look at. You can lot those as well, and they'll go a little bit quicker. Like Tori had said about the Ralph Lauren, especially in baby clothes, it's anything that you can think of that has like a specialty store. So if you're going through a mall and it's not just a store that carries a lot of brands, so you're going in and like J. Crew is here, Madewell's next to it. I know a lot of people are from Pittsburgh area. Tor, where is that area? Oh my gosh, that's by Joe's house.
Cranberry?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Madewell's, Crew's there? Yes. In Cranberry, perfect example. If you think of that Cranberry Plaza where all of those stores are, those are brands you'd always want to list differently just because it's a certain buyer. Again, if they're basics, not so much. If it's like a Madewell basic, you can lot those. But if it's, you know, their jumpsuit from last year or one of the midi skirts that are coming out this year, that's going to be a little different. And you can also filter on the app by price and recent solds, meaning I want to see what this another seller sold it for within the last couple of weeks to make my price comparable also.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends.
So I have this stuff. I'm ready to list it. I've done my research. I know what a good price is or whatever else. What's the next step once I list it? So like I'm ready to go. How do I get people their items?
Okay. Well, there goes a lot with listing to kind of stay on that also. With the listing, after you do it, photos and the brands, I personally think are the number one thing on Poshmark. If you have a really nice item, but you're taking a crappy photo or vice versa, you have a really good photo and maybe the item is like a little bit lower grade, or again, it's just basics, but your photo's really pretty, that's going to catch a buyer's eye compared to, you know, tossing stuff on a child's bedroom floor that hasn't been cleaned. Did it go out? I'm sorry. Is that
No,
okay?
you're okay.
Out. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, so you want to think about that. What's aesthetically pleasing that I want to choose that. Just like if you're shopping on Target's site, you know, the Target just had a buy one, get one swim. And it's like, oh, I like some of these. These are better pictures than the other. Of course, you want to buy that. So photos are a big thing. Listing it accurately, making sure, excuse me, that, you know, if there are blemishes, if there's tears or something that's noted or it's taken a picture of, and listing it honestly at a decently good price to make sure it's not sitting the whole time, especially if someone's wanting to use the app new and they just want to get stuff out of their house instead of donating to try to make extra money. You know, you're going to obviously price it well and lower than others in the market at that time. So once that happens, and Tori will share at the end some good closets to follow or some good social media that they have been in basically the reselling game for a long time that I mentioned. You know, for them, it is, I just lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh.
Well, for them, it's become a job. But as
Yeah.
we were saying, like you want to list it at a fair price. I mean, think of yourself
Yeah.
on the app, because the other piece to the app is that you can also shop, right? You don't have to just sell. So if there is something like a certain brand, like you love Anthropologie, but you don't like paying Anthropologie prices, you can definitely go on there and be like, I want the eyelet white dress from Anthropologie last year. Or maybe there's sentimentality to an outfit, or it's a must-have item. You want it, you don't want to buy it for the actual price. You can definitely go on there and search and buy too. And so that's one of the great things with Poshmark is that, like, if you're a shopper, like you can shop. If you want to clean out your closet, if you know, buy an item, sell an item, like whatever works for you. I've bought items on there. I actually bought like two or three pair of like brand new tennis shoes that had never been worn. They were a list price of like
Nice.
$110. I got them for 25. And they're shoes that have like are good brands like a Reebok and Adidas and a pair of Nikes. And at the time I needed tennis shoes for work, but I couldn't afford like what I knew would be a good pair kind of out. And so, you know, ordered them, they shipped, you know, they were in perfect condition. So it was great. So definitely something that's worth it to think about it is maybe you want that higher priced item, you can't afford it, so you can search it. One of the cool things in the app, and Jen might be able to touch on this a little bit more, when you're a shopper, you can hit like, or you can ask questions or comments. So maybe you see a pair of shoes and you're like, oh, are these like true Yeezys or are these like knockoff Yeezys? Like, I don't mind buying knockoffs, but I'm not going to pay the real price for real Yeezys. And so you can ask questions, or maybe you're built not funny, but just built not typical of like a regular size. So you're like, hey, you know, I'm pear shaped. Well, this dress, you know, can you tell me what the waist is or the length, or I have longer or shorter legs? Like, can you just tell me from, you know, waist to knee what this is? And so people will ask you a ton of crazy questions. I literally had listed a watch. It was like, I think $4. I listed it for Poshmark. And a woman sent me 6 messages of like, can you please measure the diameter of this watch for me? And I'm like, lady, it's $4. Like, there's a discount on it. I think you'll get it for $220. Like, you know, and like 6 messages, like, I just need to know the diameter. I need to know this, like, da 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 da. And I was just like, delete, because like it just was not worth the effort to like get a ruler, measure, and then give her that. You'll find out when you're selling, some people just like to ask questions. Some will try and offer you deals. They'll say like, well, I'll buy 7 items. Can you offer me a discount? Can you bundle this for me? Jen, do you want to talk about the bundling deal?
Sure. Yeah. So when there are multiple items in someone's closet or their store, however you want to see it, they have a feature on Poshmark that is offers to likers, and you can do it on bundles, meaning there's a feature, and again, you'll have to get into the app and eventually play around with it, that's on your main listing. And it is just a plus sign with a box around it. And that means it's like the add to cart. As for Amazon, it's for Poshmark, it's add to bundle. So you can push it, just add a couple items like sizes, whatever. I've seen moms buy for me. I have some kids' clothes listed, so moms will buy for them and the babes, and they add it. I usually send a discounted offer because they're going to only pay one shipping price with that, and then you can counter there as well. It's almost like if you are a garage sailor and you're kind of haggling. It's like, oh, I want this for 10, but they want it, you know, for 15, and kind of going from there. You will get a lot of sales that way, especially if you're offering a pretty good discount. So I always say, as part of the listing feature, you want to price a lot higher than you actually want the item for. If you want to make it a side hustle, it's different again if you're cleaning out your closet, but because you want room for basically, yeah, just offers and that. So yeah, no, that's a really good feature of the app, definitely.
Well, and then also, so Poshmark does these things that are called parties, and it's different times and different brands or different categories, and you can go in and it's kind of like a share blitz, and you can share your closets and things like that. And if people are like, oh, well, I want to shop like Zara, I'm going to go in during this time because that's a brand that I like, and I know people will be sharing it. It'll make it easier. Let me see what they're sharing. There's like some Posh parties that are dedicated to like kids' clothes or makeup or hair or something like that. So that's a really great way. And it's just like sharing on Facebook. You like literally go into your closet and hit like share to party. And very similar to every other form of social media, the more interactive you are, the more recognizable the algorithm becomes for your particular closet. So like Jen has dedicated times because she's read about this and this is a side business for her, like dedicated times, when to post, at what time, what days, you know, when to ship, you know, things like that. So it's almost like a mathematical equation, right? If I share at noon and 4, I might get 10 people who are going to shop my closet. But if I share at 9:30 at night after mommies have had a glass of wine and they're in bed and they're killing time, I'm going to get 20 people to shop and 10 buyers. So your time is allotted differently. How you share Jen does a really great job, and we'll post some photos tomorrow so you can see, but a really great job of actually taking photos of the items. So she has a cute little backdrop that she bought. She hangs things up. She pieces jewelry. Like, it really makes you feel like you are in a boutique when you're shopping. So it's not just like, oh, this is out of someone's like second bedroom. This is really like, you feel like you're at a storefront. And I think that's why people kind of like it, is that it gives people options. So the Facebook parties are really great. Not Facebook parties, the Poshmark parties are really great. The next step, once you buy or you sell an item, Jen mentioned shipping. So shipping price is included in the app. You don't get to, decide that or say, well, media mail or whatever else. There's a fee that comes to it. But one of the things that I absolutely love about Poshmark is that once you make that sale, it creates a mailing label for you, so you can print it and put it onto any box that you want, tape your box, package up your item, and then put it into the mail. Jen, do you want to talk about how you make your item look kind of really pretty? So thank you notes and all those other things.
So I don't make the items really pretty. I used to. They are very much, Poshmark is very much a social app as well as a reselling app. And I actually just got a message from a buyer that's funny about shipping. Okay, great. So a lot of people do it in a way that it's almost like if you were to buy something from Gucci, like if you think about that experience when you're opening it, they have the card, they have what's in the item, if it's a leather good, the tissue paper, all of that. It's like a presentation. Some people do ship like that. I don't think that's actually very much needed unless you really want to, especially if you're just cleaning out your closet, but you can. Poshmark does priority mail only, meaning they have basically a connection with the post office that for every up to 5 pounds, we're able to ship, I think it's $7.19 right now, which does sound high for, smaller items or just accessories. But if you're shipping a big bundle like Tori was talking about before, that's actually a really great price I live in Ohio, so Ohio to California.
The bundle price from a buyer, bundling makes the most sense because it's one shipping price. Usually the buyer is giving you a discount or creates a special discount themselves. You're getting multiple items. And then if it's a quality, it's a buy from that buyer again. So Jen, resells and she consigns. So if people are like, oh, I like her closet, she has kind of the same aesthetic, it came to me quickly. There's grading ranks to when you're a seller. So like if Jen ships her stuff within a day, it brings her ranking up higher. So people will be like, oh, I want to buy from her because she ships quickly. The items are good. She's not lying. It's not like a fake Gucci that was bought off of like a Chinese website and has like backward F's instead of G's. It's like true authentic material, and it ships quickly. And that's what a lot of people want. We're so used to Amazon Prime and being able to get it in 2 days, and then we're angry when Prime doesn't deliver in 2 days. Poshmark is very similar to that. So that was an issue of why I stopped selling, because for a long time I lost a lot of weight, and so I cleaned out a lot of my clothes, and I made a decent amount of side money that just kind of supported some activities that I wanted to do and some savings. But I stopped working where there was a printer, and so printing the label became really hard. And then I got a printer, but then I couldn't get to the post office. I couldn't get this. I couldn't box it up. And then I had my son, and so silly me on maternity leave, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so easy. We can just walk down to the post office. We could do this. Well, no, it's not. With kids, it's so much harder. So if you have a printer, they even have now, which aren't that expensive, the printers that literally just print labels that you can slap on. Those are all great options if you really want to turn this into a side business or a side hustle. If you live close to a post office or something like that, or if you do the pickup, our postman delivers a ton of mail to our neighborhood and goes up and down hills. I don't have the heart to ask him to pick up boxes from my house. So I'd probably drop them off. But again, like those are definitely ways that makes Poshmark a little bit better than others. And then if you have an issue or if you have a question, or, Jen goes on vacation, she goes to Vegas, she can put her shop on pause for a week. Nobody can shop it. So that way she's not missing any sales and getting like hit because she had a delay in shipment or anything like that.
There's also a feature, as the seller, you can offer discounted shipping. I try not to do that. I actually try to wait till closet clear out happens. It's usually Tuesday nights, Sunday nights, or Friday nights, and Poshmark pays the discounted shipping. So they'll give you like $2.50 off, because that really adds up, especially if it's a business. You know, you want them to pay. We don't want to
For
pay for
sure.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
And
that
also,
helps the buyer out. You know, I like the idea of $4.99 instead of what, $7.79 or whatever it is.
well, also, like, if you're going to buy, that's the night you're going to buy. So that's a great indicator already to share your closet, upload new items. So, like, what day should I upload items to get the most bang for my buck?
I think it just depends. I think as long as someone is just consistently listing, it doesn't need to be a certain day. Personally, I try to list Thursday nights. Actually, tonight like this, I listed this morning, so I won't tonight, just because a lot of people get paid on Fridays. Some get paid weekly, some get paid bi-weekly. So you think about my mentality, oh, I'm getting my paycheck tomorrow, I definitely want to buy new shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think a lot of people have downtime on Sundays. You know, it's more historically the day that we're not doing as much, at least at night, because we're getting ready for the week. So I'll also list Sundays as well. Midweek you can. Best times of day, I think Poshmark is actually, they put out data every so often. They could be better about it, but the data I think is between 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern time. That's their highest sell rate. That's like basically how many people are on the app buying at that time. I believe it's 7 to 10.
Which makes perfect sense, because on Sunday night, you figure kids are getting ready to go to sleep, get ready for school on Monday. You're watching a movie, you're curled up on the couch, you've done your errands, you're running around, etc. We are approaching, we have about 10 minutes left. And so I do want to have us get, kind of wrap up a little bit. Okay, so I listed my item, I sold my item, I shipped my item. Now, how do I get my money?
Okay. They basically hold the money until the buyer receives the item. The buyer has 3 days to accept the item. That's actually I love that about Poshmark. You don't get a lot of returns. We don't offer returns, and they don't actually offer returns for fit. So that's the thing as a buyer, to know your size or ask for measurements in order to make sure you're obviously getting the right item, or I'm sorry, the item that fits. But they have a 3-day return window, meaning they can just say, I didn't notice this hole. I feel like this item's inauthentic. This isn't the photos that you took. And they are able to do that. I would say, honestly, maybe I have 5 returns in a whole year. It's very low, which is nice. Yeah.
So then, okay, the 3 days are up and my money gets released. How do I get my money from Poshmark into my pocket?
There are 2 options. You can do direct deposit into your bank account, where you are providing them with a routing. Sorry guys, it keeps going out. A routing and checking number, just like you would for your paycheck, or you can just do a paper check. Paper check, I actually don't know how long it takes. I think it's 14 days. Poshmark, you can direct deposit as soon as you want, as soon as the money comes in. I run it I'm like a sole proprietor for it. So I run mine that I only withdraw every so often. I don't withdraw every day. But if somebody, a mom wants the $50 in the account, obviously she can just withdraw, and you'll usually get it next day. I think it's within 24 hours.
And you can also use that money to shop back on the app too, correct?
Yep. Yeah, you can leave it to shop with, or you can debit it out.
Yeah. So I did that because mine was just kind of like making extra cash and clearing out my closet. Like if I needed an item, I would use my Posh money first to see if I could get it on there. That's where I got like my shoes or whatever else. So to me, it was almost like a fair trade. And there are other times, like maybe I was going on vacation or I was having a girls' weekend, just wanted a little bit of extra cash, I would pull out. Or maybe like I set a goal for myself one time. I was saving money, I forget what, but I was like, not going to pull money out till I have like $300, going to keep it in the account. And then I pulled it, and it was like the next day, which was great. And I got my money, and it was like, kind of felt proud, because it's like, I worked for this, I saved for it. This is fantastic. So, okay. So I've done all of that, and I've become like a master. If I wanted to turn this into truly a side business, because some people have turned this into an actual full-fledged career, what would be the next steps? Like, how in like 4 minutes could you tell me like what could be the steps? Like, what's a reseller? What are boutiques? Like, I've seen people are like boutique sellers. Like, I see the stuff that they're selling is like on different websites, and like the boutiques that I like, how do I do that?
So you would go to the places mentioned before: thrifts, consignments, Plato's Closet, Clothes Mentor, Buffalo Exchange. I love the one in Pittsburgh. It's like my favorite store. I probably shouldn't say that because everybody will go there now. But you would go to a store like that. You'd buy inventory. I'd try to get it as discounted as possible. Go on discount days. Go on days where they're ready to give it a coupon. Sometimes they just have discounts set in that, and you would gain inventory that way. In the beginning, do not do that. In the beginning, get a handle of the app and do your friend's clothes, your mama's clothes, your boyfriend's clothes, your clothes, and then go from there to do it. I've considered it a business for about 3.5 years now. I've been on the app for almost 6. And my first 2 years, I was just kind of getting the hang of it. Poshmark, and this would be like a whole nother video, but they have options to buy on the app from a wholesale portal. Honestly, the numbers aren't well. You can also order wholesale. Buyers buy pallets from places like Macy's. I mean, that's a 6-figure seller. That's someone that's been doing this. They do it full time. That's their full career, like Tori had said. But I would start there. So your closet, your friend's closet, extended family's closet, put it on Facebook Marketplace. Hey, if anybody's cleaning out their closet, I'll come grab stuff for free. During COVID, I don't know if that's a good idea, but that could even be another way to get free inventory and get your a handle on it. And then from there, start to buy inventory, meaning you're only paying yourself a small percentage and you're kind of regrouping your income to build a store.
Mm-hmm.
And again, mine's taken a while. It's not anything you do overnight, but try to start there, I would say, is the most important thing.
If you had to guesstimate how many items you've sold, how many items do you think you've sold over the years?
I know how many items I've sold: 4,200. That's
Wow.
not on only Poshmark though. I sell on Tradesy, The Real, Mercari. I don't do those as much. Poshmark's probably, I'd say 85%. Also ThredUp Luxe is another one I've been doing the last couple years, but that's in a large amount of time, and I do it super, super part-time. Like I have a full career, full-time job outside of it. I do it really part-time.
So how many hours a week do you say you dedicate to poshing?
In the beginning, it was probably honestly about 15 hours a week. Now, it's like 3, maybe not even. Honestly, not that much time, just because I've built like a system in place.
Mm-hmm.
When more of the stores open, I will go get inventory. Just right now, I'm just working with consignment clients for my inventory. Consignment's a whole nother thing. That's where I basically give a percentage to the person's items, and I keep a percentage because I'm kind of doing all that back end work. That's what I've been doing actually more recently now for the last, I'd say, 6 months, because I'm trying not to be as invested as much time.
Right. So we found all these different avenues. You can do a closet clean out, you can buy, you can sell. Some people I know that are just like their hobby is shopping. This could be really great for them if they know brands and prices well enough. We have just a few minutes left. What would be the best advice that you could give to someone if they wanted to, kind of dip their foot into this?
In your downtime, and I know a lot of moms follow the blog, Tori, like if that's a big part of your audience, even at night, or when you guys are at a store waiting in line, just open up the app and kind of peruse around. As a buyer, I would say as a seller, even to try to do from a buyer's perspective, if you wanted to get a new pair of Converse for summer, and just kind of looking and just really like taking into account what the app looks like, how you can search for a feature, what jumps out to you, and kind of base it off of that is a good place to start. But really, we didn't get into it. We won't have time today. But sharing is a big thing as well. Poshmark, again, is a social app. They want you to share your items so buyers can see them in the feed. So even that, you'll be able to look on their news feed and you can see items and kind of navigate it that way, just to get familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can even share it to like Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram, Pinterest. Poshmark is really,
yeah, I shared a Pinterest, and I've actually gotten buyers from Pinterest because the items are on Pinterest and they found it that way. That ended up creating a Poshmark account because of that. And same thing with Google. If you guys Google images, Poshmark images will come up because they have SEO, which again is a whole nother thing that
yeah.
connect to it as well, which is cool.
Well, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Jen, so much for giving us kind of like a basic 101 of Poshmark. So if you've done
Yeah.
your closet and you're wanting to make a few extra dollars during this time, which I mean, who isn't? Or maybe you just really like to shop and you're really good and understand fashion and brands and have an eye for something like that. This is a really great way to be able to turn, you know, something that you love, a hobby, into something that can make some money or some cash. Or if you're a mom and you have kids' clothes, great way to be able to sell some of the stuff that you have and make $1 back, because if your kid's like mine, he's already outgrown 2 sizes just during COVID. So you are constantly at the store buying clothes. So thank you, Jen, so much. This is another session of Let's Talk About It Poshmark, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Tori. Bye, guys.